Hey everyone, welcome back to Endless Money Pits. This is my 2016 Honda CBR500R, and today I'll show you how to change the tires. Generally, a tire should be replaced if it's been significantly damaged, if it's defective, if any part of the tread is worn down to the wear bars, or if it's more than 5 years old. You can determine the age of a tire by looking at the tire identification number on the sidewall. These 4 digits represent the week and year of manufacture, so on this tire, 0622 represents the 6th week of 2022. Both of my tires are worn out in the center from a lot of highway riding, and one of them has some damage that doesn't look very good, so I'll be replacing both with a set of Michelin Road 5s. The first time I tried changing a motorcycle tire on my own, I gave up after deciding I didn't have the right tools. I really thought I was better prepared this time, but this video is basically going to show how I barely got through it with the wrong tools, and there's just no way around that. It really wouldn't have been that difficult if I were better prepared, so we'll go over what I did wrong and how I plan to do it next time. Here are the tools that I used for this job. Breaker bar, a couple torque wrenches, a couple socket wrenches, a couple socket extensions, 24mm socket, 12mm socket, 17mm hex bit socket, 19mm wrench, a set of tire levers, flathead screwdriver, valve core remover, plastic mallet, air compressor, and a bench vise. For this job I also needed gloves, some liquid soap, a spray bottle, shop towels, waterproof grease, rim protectors, broom and dustpan, a couple rags, some tape, plastic bowl, a stool, a light, motorcycle stands, and some cardboard to work on. There are links in the description for everything I should have used. On a sunny day, I threw the new tires in my Jeep in an effort to make them a little softer and easier to install, but it wasn't as hot outside as I thought it would be. The tires I bought are the same size as the factory tires. Parking the motorcycle in the sun for an hour to warm up the old tires worked almost as good as putting the tires in the Jeep. Hot soapy water in a spray bottle will help move the tires over the rims and give us a better seal for the first inflation. There's no good way to do this without stands, so it's time to get some if you haven't yet. I used a 19mm wrench and a 24mm socket on a breaker bar to remove the axle nut, but I don't think I really needed the 19 to hold the other side. Gently tap the axle free and support the rear wheel as you pull the axle from the swing arm. Some things may fall on the ground. Roll the wheel forward so you can move the chain out of the way and remove the wheel. The front axle is secured with a pinch bolt that you'll need to remove first. Then, the axle can be removed with a 17mm hex bit socket. I used a socket extension and a plastic mallet to tap the front axle out. With the wheels off, make sure not to touch the brake levers, or you might have a really hard time getting the brake rotors to fit back inside the calipers. Work on the wheels with the brake rotors facing up when possible to keep them from getting damaged or contaminated. The quickest way to deflate a tire without a knife is to remove the valve core. I've seen other videos where people use a large C-clamp to break the bead on motorcycle tires, but I gave up when it kept slipping off the edge of the tire. After thinking about it more, this probably would have worked, but I was trying to clamp the wrong spot. I should have clamped it right where the tire bead meets the rim. I watched another video that used a bench vise to break the bead, so that was my plan B. What I found out is, my bench vise isn't big enough for the back tire, but it did work on the front tire.
Okay. Now I gotta do something else.
Getting desperate, I sprayed the bead with soapy water and started trying anything I could think of. These tire levers are not designed to break a bead, and I wasn't really sure how to use them in the first place, but I was leaving for California in a few days, and I couldn't afford to pay somebody else to do this for me. So what you're witnessing here is pure determination. In the midst of this process, I found some tire levers made by Motion Pro designed to easily break beads, so I'll be buying a set of those for next time.
Holy cow, I can't believe that works.
As soon as I broke the first bead, I knew I'd be able to finish the job. These plastic rim protectors seemed like a gimmick at first, but now that I've gone through it, I know my rims would have gotten pretty scratched up without them. I stood on one end of the tire to keep it down in the deepest part of the rim while I pried off the other end. These tires have tiny glass beads inside of them instead of using metal weights to balance the wheels, and I was planning to reuse them, but the soapy water made them stick to the rim and then fall on the ground. I didn't buy any new ones, so I collected as many as I could from inside the tire and off the ground. To get the tire off the rim, I compressed it with my knee as I pried it off using a rim guard. Here's a closer shot of the glass beads stuck to the inside of the tire. I think I got almost all of them, but there was a lot of dirt and debris mixed in, so I rinsed it away with some water from the sink. By the way, you can now support the channel by purchasing this awesome design available in a t-shirt, long sleeve, and a hoodie, and in a bunch of different colors as well. Check for a link in the description below. Time to install the new tire. New tires sometimes have a dot painted onto the sidewall that should be lined up with the valve stem and the rim to make it easier to balance, but these tires don't have any painted dots. I rubbed some liquid soap on the bead to help it slip over the rim. Triple check to make sure you aren't installing the tire backwards. I swear, I stared at the front tire for about 10 minutes to make sure I put it on the right way, but I still put it on backwards and didn't notice until I had it full of air. Oh my god. With the tire halfway on, I poured in my clean and dry glass beads. I used a little more soap on the second bead, stood on one end of the tire to hold it down again, and the new tire went on easier than the old tire came off. Fully reinstall the valve core. Inflate the rear tire to 42 psi and the front to 36 psi. When you took the wheels off, you might have noticed these metal collars fall onto the ground. They're like spacers that keep the wheels centered. These two go on the front, and these two on the rear. The collars and axle should be cleaned and re-greased before the wheels go back on the bike. Some of them look like they have a little wear, but I can't feel any physical grooves. Make sure to clean off any contaminants from the brake rotor surface and wipe any debris out from where the collars go. Install the rear collars as shown. Insert both chain tensioners before installing the axle. And don't forget these plates. When you lift the wheel, make sure the brake rotor goes between the brake pads. If the brake pads are too close together, you might need to pry them apart. Some wood blocks would have been helpful to support the wheel while installing the axle, so add that to the list of things that would have made this easier. I had to use some tape to keep this chain tensioner from falling out. Once you get the wheel, collars, chain tensioners, swing arm, brake caliper, and all 9 planets into alignment, you can get the axle started and gently tap it through with a plastic mallet if needed. Wipe off any grease that got onto the threads of the axle. The axle nut should be torqued to 65 foot-pounds. The procedure for installing the front wheel is basically the same, but the front collars are interchangeable. The front axle should be torqued to 40 foot-pounds. And the pinch bolt should be torqued to 16 foot-pounds. If you had to pry apart your brake calipers, pump the brakes a few times to make sure they still have good pressure, then put your bike back on the ground because we're done. Make sure to check out my coolant flush video next, because I know you've been putting it off. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe for more of the best DIY videos on the internet. And until next time, just keep throwing money at it.